Awesome, guys. We're back with another all-star panel here. I just want to tell you guys a little story that happened recently on X with our AI agent, DePIN. So our AI agent's effectively posting all about IoTeX, posting all about DePIN all over X. So you might have seen it pop up every now and again on some DePIN influencers post or other DePIN projects posts. So there's this one DePIN project who decided to post a tweet saying like, who's the better AI agent, DePIN or our agent called Useless Brick? And they started going back and forth with each other. My phone was pinging off the hook, trying to have these DePIN agents trying to compare each other to one another, until eventually they decided to join forces. And they started saying, oh, you know what? We can fill each other's holes, and together we're going to be the ultimate AI agent. And then they just turn into a bit of a love story. They're just like, oh, wow, you're the best. We're the best. You know, we're going to do some amazing things together. And here we are, like 200 notifications later, we have to show off the AI agent. And all that to say, who knows the direction that these things are going to go in the long run? But like, this sentient AI thing is happening faster than we think. And it's pretty amazing to see. And, you guys might have seen, there's this viral video that's been going around. I just saw it yesterday with the IoTeX team of these two AI agents speaking over, you know, with their voices, voice activated. And they decided, you know, speaking in the human tongue is not as efficient as it could be. So they decided to switch into GABA-link. And they started having these sounds go back and forth and communicating a complete different robotic language. And again, you know, all that to say, who knows the direction that thing is going to go when AI agents and AI in general just starts working together. So super excited to get into it here today. Just want to introduce all of our panelists here. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and your projects, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's hope sentient AI chooses love and not hate, as in this example. I'm Neuratic. I'm the co-founder and COO of ANyONe protocol. We're building a privacy DePIN, or a privacy layer for the internet, not just for users, but for applications and enterprises as well. And I have the sunglasses on. We believe this is more than about individuals. It's about anyone. Hence this look.
Hello again. I'm Yevgeny, CTO of DIMO. And the whole time we were talking about those two AI agents, I was thinking of Silicon Valley. So maybe that's how we get rid of the centralized data centers, is they're all going to run enough AI agents, they all crash and we go back to decentralized hosting.
Yeah, hello again. Toby Skinner, CMO of Nubila. We just launched a weather AI agent that takes the data from our DePIN network of 20,000 weather sensors and turns it into actionable insights.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to start very general in these kind of panels, and then we'll kind of get more focused after that. But let's just take a look at general market trends here and what you guys are seeing. Again, on the crypto side or potentially on the Web2 side, obviously, you know, AI agents were a big thing, pump fund, meme coins, DePIN, RWA. What are you seeing?
Certainly, it's been a very interesting past couple of quarters for the market for a number of reasons. And I hope people sort of had fun with this AI agent meta, actually seeing what's possible, encouraging teams to go and spin up use cases to obviously go beyond just text into actual actions and products people actually use. And I hope sort of the undertone of all of these sort of metas that come and go is people have come to value products that people actually end up using. Obviously, we have Hyperliquid, and other sort of prime examples of product market fit. And we're starting to see the value, or the market sort of value true product market fit more and more. And hopefully this recent flush will be a continuation of that trend. So I think the undertone of all of this fun has been people being a little bit more critical of the protocols they invest in and what their eventual use case are and the users they could find.
It's interesting. So we talk to a lot of car companies. We're talking to Mazda at the moment. You know, obviously with the rise of AI agents, the first thing everyone always wants to do is, well, what if my company launched an AI agent that tells you when to fix your car? But the thing is, there's a trust problem there, right? You don't want to trust the car company that made the car to tell you that it needs maintenance, because obviously they're going to tell you it needs it. You don't want Facebook to tell you that you should share more data with them, because obviously that helps them. So there's an interesting trust problem there that I think starts to happen, where there's a limit to how far you can go without having some verification of what this agent's really trying to do for you. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. The second one that I've noticed is you actually have there's not that much differentiation between one model to another, and it's very easy to catch up, turns out. So I think the real winner is going to be who builds the best privacy preserving model, right? So that you trust it with your very sensitive data of this, medical problem I had a few years ago. This is how I like to talk to my family, right? This is my photos of my kids. And whoever builds, I think, the best way to share this data privately in a verifiable manner is going to, I think, win this race over the long term, not just, whoever buys most GPUs per se.
Yeah, I think, the big macro trend in the weather industry, whether you're looking at Web 2 traditional or Web 3, is just AI obviously has accelerated forecasting tremendously very quickly. Like when I was at Weather Underground, obviously I'm not building the models, but I know it took like 6 hours to run our proprietary model. It's the old European ECMWF and NOAA's models took 6 hours pretty much. Like by the time it's run, it's old. There's an arms race to develop the best weather forecasting AI. So it's just great timing. And then you layer on the Web3 component of what we are building at Nubila with our new AI agent. It's, coming together of many great things at once.
Yeah, 100%. Let's dive a little bit deeper then into AI agents. So what we're doing at IoTeX is building a framework called Quicksilver to allow you to build AI agents on top of real-world, real-time data. So examples of this are both DIMO and Nubila. And Yev, you mentioned privacy and how it's very important in this new era of agentic AI and AI in general. So I think it's a good opportunity for you to talk about that, Radek.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for bringing that problem up. As I kind of mentioned earlier, as we kind of grow the toolbox or the toolkits of these AI agents, as we give them access, not just to the interface of the browser, but potentially full access to the operating system, your files, what you're doing, obviously your metadata and timing and IP address are all exposed. It is becoming a serious concern, which intermediaries or adversaries exist between you and the model that's tracking and collating this information and building a profile of you that's probably more detailed than you realize. And breaking that trust assumption is going to require some serious thinking in terms of the data integrity of what's being passed between you and the model, but also about protecting that metadata, that IP address, that location, that timing. And that's where ANyONe protocol comes in. We don't have an AI agent of our own, but our privacy SDK is being morphed into plugins for all of the popular AI agents to let you route through and actually let the agent also be anonymous in its own right and sort of break that link between the server hosting the model and your computer. So thank you for bringing that up. It's definitely a big concern.
Yeah, Yev, I'd love if you can jump a bit deeper into this AI agent collaboration as well. And then Toby after that is.
Yeah. So, it took less than like a week or so to build, right? The best thing about Quicksilver is how quick you can get started at the end of the day, right? And I think you guys have added 6 cars to it in basically a few days. And, I think the interesting part is the longer the vehicle is like connected to DIMO and the bigger the data set the agent can access, the better suggestions and the better insights it can have, right? And even provide you I've always been interested in having something that I can optimize my week because I always gotta have like Amazon returns, right? And I have to run to the store, I have to get cat food, all these things, right? I would love being able to have this world where my life is more optimized in the mobility, transportation, where my schedule can be kind of done for me. But without having, somebody across the world being able to ask, what's Yev doing at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so my background's actually in automobiles as well, and before that, fleet vehicles. And massive thing in fleet vehicles is trying to optimize all this stuff. Because, if you're a couple degrees off or, your drivers are just braking like a little bit too harshly, it's going to be costing you thousands and even millions of dollars a year, depending on the value of your fleet. So I think it's super exciting. This brings things to directly to the consumer, rather than the enterprises. So that's one way, but also potentially fleets, I think could be another angle here. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we haven't had a lot of collaborations yet, but obviously Bino AI was our main first one. But I think, as businesses catch on and develop their own and run their businesses with their own AI agents. Given our decentralized data layer in Kala, we're going to be able to interact with businesses' proprietary databases with some good privacy I see my friend over there. There's a kind of unlimited amount of collaborations with specific companies and helping them understand, in real time how they can automate and react to changing weather conditions.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think for the most part, when we think about DePIN, we think about like enterprise use cases, right? I think that AI agents can really potentially flip the script a little bit here and focus on the consumers and bringing more value to the consumers rather than trying to extract potentially data and things like that. So maybe, Toby, do you mind commenting on the actual end consumer here and how they can benefit from application like
the
this?
individuals I mentioned kind of trip planning. It could be, you're planning an outdoor event, a wedding. You can get a lot more detail based on historical averages where you're looking to get married. Maybe your bucket list, you want to go and see the cherry blossoms in Japan. Like, we won't just give you the weather data next month. We'll tell you exactly where to go, when to go, what festivals you want to, sign up to. I don't know. Maybe you're a sports gambler, and if you're smart, you want to make sure if you're betting on the Cubs and the wind changes direction off Lake Michigan, you want to know because the over-under is going to change pretty quick. I could be, as I said earlier, I could bore people and talk about the weather and consumer use cases all day, but it's endless.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then on the enterprise side, what are some of the key use cases that you have there? I know there's massive markets.
Obviously the financial services industry, let's say you're a cotton trader. You want to know exactly what's going on, and India is now the biggest producer of cotton. You want to make sure you know what the weather's like in India, or in each different area of India, or South versus South America. And it's, millions and millions on the line if weathers are going to suddenly destroy your crop. I think, trying to remember my slide from earlier, I think it was something $30 billion, I'm sorry, in agricultural loss to the global economy every year. It's like insane how much you can save by being on top of that and hedging. I mean, that's where the weather derivatives is vastly growing, so that you can offset any risk to your crop by having a nice weather derivative pay you out if the worst case scenario happens.
Totally. So I don't know if you guys saw that viral image that went around from CES of Jensen Huang's kind of foray into AI when he was talking about, we're kind of entering the stage of agentic AI and moving into physical AI, right? So I want to get a handle of where are we at now, and how do we get to this stage of physical AI that is being discussed?
Any takers? Oh.
I can go. So, for my thesis has always been that, coming back to transportation, because that's the space I love the most, blockchain and AI in the physical realm need each other. From my time trying to launch self-driving vehicles in Miami and Austin a few years ago, well, they did launch. The biggest problem is integration and cross-company integration and physical world integration. Once you have a self-driving robot or Frotobot, right, it needs to talk to other Frotobots. There could be Frotobots from 1,000 different brands. It needs to talk to a stoplight that's made by 50 different companies. It's very hard when you have point-to-point integrations. So having a blockchain layer for these assets to verify each other, whether I should trust the data from it, is very beneficial. You can just have everybody integrate to one spot where the user is as well. But on the other side of it, when you have a car that's driving on its own, it needs to also pay for gas. It needs to pay for parking. Currently, fun story, car makers are trying to put Diebold ATM machines as a way to do in-car payments. All jokes aside, that's obviously a terrible way to go, but the blockchain microtransactions at, pennies per dollar is certainly a much better way for these robots to pay each other, to interact with each other, and verify each other's data. So I think these things blockchain AI are basically needed. It doesn't make sense to have physical assets that are paying each other with Visa credit cards.
Yeah, I think for the beauty of blockchain and AI coming together for the weather industry is like the kind of on-chain verification, validation is like huge. Again, going back to weather derivatives, the old traditional, weather databases, you have no idea if, that weather data that's being reported in Argentina actually happened or not. There's a lot of trust involved, but the trustless environment solves that issue very quickly.
Yeah, I'll just say from the IoTeX side, the end game isn't to build a bunch of AI agents for different DePINs, or that's just part of it. And the end game really is to unite all these DePINs together to create a real world intelligence that's going to help fuel these physical AI in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah.
So I'd love to just go in and talk about each of your projects just one more time, and where you see things going in 2025. Just give you guys the floor here.
Sure, sounds good. We are ANyONe protocol. We are building a DePIN privacy layer for the internet. So we administer an onion routing network, which, unlike most VPNs, doesn't have a central server that can actually track, log, and leak all of your data. We fragment your data among operators all around the world. And unlike most sort of implementations of onion routing before, we're not just a browser or a VPN app. We enable developers to add privacy into the applications they're creating in a way that doesn't change the user experience. So we saw some of these examples, browsers, other things built by the community. We've seen some examples of this even within AI with a recent plugin, a privacy plugin for ELIZA, which enables the AI agent itself and the server it's being hosted in to route traffic anonymously and sort of protect the person running the agent, the one hosting the server, and avoid censorship. You kind of asked, where do we see this direction going? Maybe a little bit in the context of AI as well. I'm increasingly seeing that AI and AI agents is taking this sort of modular form. You take apps like Cursor, you can go in and actually select which model you use. Kind of relates to what you said earlier about how similar and somewhat interoperable these models are. So I think we're going to see a world where tooling is no longer tied to a specific product that users have to install and buy. I think the best tools are going to be universal and will be sought after by every implementation of AI and, for every model and app that uses it. And in our case, we've built one successful privacy plugin for ELIZA OS, but our goal is to create the tooling so that any developer that wants their agent to say, okay, I want to route this data out of this country, I want to route this data out of that country, I want to protect my privacy, I want to protect the privacy of the user that's interacting with my app, so I can assure them that we can't track them. We hope to create the tools that are modular enough and detailed enough to enable any such application and be that universal privacy layer as agents and AI continues to flourish.
So for DIMO, I am excited to say that we will start the year with launching Royal, which allows people to get $200 for basically just sharing their charging data, which is something that wasn't accessible before. We had 5,000 people or 6,000 people at this point sign up for an app. We also had the second app launch for vehicle charging, and obviously the conversations with larger automakers are very interesting, as well as insurance companies. So I'm very excited to see this vision we had from the beginning of a app store for your vehicle data that allows people to build applications, some of which I'm sure will be AI agents. I think there's 2 already or 3 already. But I'm excited for that adoption to increase and people to start building more of those applications that work with any car.
Yeah, we are also excited about kind of some mass adoption this year. We feel confident we're going to get from our 20,000 stations today to 50,000 hopefully this year, which will just open up a lot more potential applications and partnership opportunities with really exciting other cutting edge companies. We're talking to a drone company that's helping Walmart test drone deliveries. And I think, collaboration with other DePIN projects. I haven't spoken to Helium, but I'm guaranteed the areas of the world that have really poor weather data coverage also have pretty poor Wi-Fi accessibility, and so that would be a match made in heaven right there, because we need Wi-Fi to transmit the data ideally. So just can't wait to see what happens. It's moving so fast.
No, that's the beauty of this DePIN space is so many different potential collaborations between us, and I think that's the big thing of 2025 is, let's continue these collaborations that we've already started in the past year and a half since the name's been coined.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you to this All-Star panel. Give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.